Alright, so let us now begin with the NGINX. Okay, so here we are going to learn about NGINX. NGINX is a lightweighted software which is used for hosting web apps. Okay, so in this specific one, we are going to pull NGINX image from Docker Hub, and then we are going to see how does it is working at the backend, right? So let me just clear it, and let me just run the command docker run nginx. Okay, so it will search for the nginx image in the local. If it is not present, then it will actually go over docker hub and pull the image. So when you run the nginx image, okay, it is actually been executed, and you can see the logs are currently present here. Now since it has been into execution mode, we need to check whether it is currently running or not. So in order to validate that, we are going to run docker ps, and you can see nginx is actually currently working. Okay, now let me just interrupt this session. Clear. Okay, now let me check whether the container is still running or not. The container is now exited. Okay, the next thing that we need to do here is we need to actually see the web page of it, right? Whenever we are installing nginx in the localhost on default port number 80, it actually gets run, right? So for that we need to do some sort of mapping, the port mapping. And how would we do that? You need to do write docker run -p. This is the external port in which we are actually mapping the nginx port number 80. So it would be port number 8080, the external port, followed by the internal port number, and followed by nginx. Enter. Okay, now you can see it is actually been running over here. Okay, now the next thing that we need to do over here is we'll go to the instance, and we'll just expose the external port whatever we defined over there. So we'll go to security, and under security groups we are going to enable this specific port. So edit inbound rule, and here we are going to enable one custom rule for port number 8080, and it can come from anywhere. Done. Next thing would be, again we'll go to the instance, and here what we need is, here we'll require the public IP address. And now in the browser itself, I'll just paste it, http:// followed by this, and the external port which we expose. Now you can see it is showing us the message, welcome message for welcome to nginx. Now if we look over here over the logs, we can just actually read what are the details that we get. Okay, the first thing is the status code, that is 200. Second, through which browser it was accessed. Okay, through which device it was accessed, that is Macintosh, Intel Mac. Okay, all right, so that is the few of the details that we get. Even if you try to refresh it, you'll get the logs as per it. Okay, now how do I stop a running container? So first of all, let us list the container. So docker ps. Now if I want to stop this specific container, I'll just write docker stop followed by the container id, or even you can stop it by the container name. Okay, so I'll just stop it by container id. If you do not want to copy the entire container id, you can also just write the prefix, that is 263, and just press enter. It will take some time and it will get executed. Okay, now when you go and do and refresh, it won't actually work, right? Okay, now how do I make sure that this nginx server runs at the backend without disturbing me, and without, I don't want to see the logs which are actually currently in the screen, because it is occupying all the things and I am actually not able to do anything, right? In order to avoid that, we have something called daemon process. So for that, what we'll do, docker run -d for daemon, which actually runs at the background, and we are going to do a port mapping for port number 8080 with with the external port, that is external port number 80 along with the internal port number 80, followed by the image nginx. Enter. Okay, now the background process is set. Now when we do a refresh, we should be able to see the server, right? So yeah, that was all about how we can actually host a custom page. Okay, in the next one we are actually going to host a custom page. In this one we were actually saying how does nginx work at the backend, right? And if we want to stop this container, just write docker ps to get the container id, and just write docker stop, copy the container id, paste it over here, and the container will get stopped. Okay, docker ps to validate it, and you can see the container is stopped. Now if we want to see the image whether it is actually present or not, we'll run docker images, and you can see nginx image is also present over there, right? So hope you got from this specific one, and see you in the next one.